Andrea. We have three wonderful panelists here with us tonight. Andrea Burns, Jeremy Colin, and Julie Burkley. Hopefully I'm not torturing your names. But welcome, welcome. Let's start. So the question is to all the panelists. Briefly, share who you are, your role in your organization, and how you came to do this work. The first person on my screen is Andrea.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take the floor. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to Rosie for reaching out to Age Strong to invite us to participate in this wonderful gathering of people. My name is Andrea Burns. I'm with the City of Boston's Age Strong Commission. I have been the director of Age Friendly Boston for about 10 years now. The city became an age-friendly city in 2014. And I did not have an aging services background actually at all. I lucked into the role. I had been in another job at City Hall, and I had a previous experience I was on the city council in East Hampton, Mass for a term, and I was a professional photographer for many years.
Thank you so much for sharing. The next person on my screen, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie Burkley. I'm the Director of Programs at FriendshipWorks. For those of you who may not know us, FriendshipWorks is a nonprofit, and for over the 40 years, our mission's about building social connection for older adults by connecting them with volunteers for weekly visiting, escorting to medical appointments, and assistance with short-term tasks. I've been with FriendshipWorks almost 6 years, and I have been doing program development and management for everyone from early childhood all the way through older adults over the past few decades. But came to FriendshipWorks partly because of a connection with Kyle, and partly just, watching some of the things that my own mother was going through as an aging.
Jemmer, you got the mic. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Perfect. Well, good evening. Happy Tuesday. So, my name is Sean. I am the co-founder.
You're breaking up a little bit.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
It looks like you're still on mute on my end. There you go, unmute. Okay, all right. Let me see. You're freezing up a little too. Maybe it's a location.
How's my connection?
If he comes off video, maybe.
Yeah, see if you can come off video and see what happens. We want to see. Huh?
You guys can hear me, see me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, I'll just go. Okay. So you guys can hear me right now, right?
Yep.
All right.
But we can hear you.
All right, perfect. All right, perfect. So I'll restart. So Jeremy Colon, co-founder of Revamp Training. We are a Boston-based performance studio that helps everyone under the sun, from founders, executives, fighters, officers. We help older adults stay active, strong and independent. We also help guide seniors through non-intimidating workouts to help improve strength, balance, and energy at pretty much any age, right? We also work with the adult communities, families, and local organizations to bring wellness directly to anyone who is in need of it, to make fitness accessible. I've been in the industry for over 10 years. Don't let the young face fool you. Pretty much how I got into the space was pretty much in college during my freshman year, and then we can get into it at another time. But during my freshman year, I donated my kidney to my dad. That led me down the path, wanted to help folks like my dad who pretty much gave their bodies up to pretty much give their families a career. And I wanted to, use that example to help folks who pretty much, let their bodies wither over the times and give them another chance at rebuilding them.
Thank you so much for sharing. Can you guys hear me? I felt like I just froze. No, I'm good. Okay. Like, hold on. All right, cool. Let's get into the question and answer part. Like I said, after each question, it might be one panelist that answers the question. Maybe it's two, maybe it's all three. And then after that, I'll open up the floor for like two, maybe three, depending on the time for any questions. First question I thought of would be a starter up would be, what are the different dimensions commonly thought of as part of healthy aging? I know we're really focusing on safe movement, social emotional, and mental and emotional resilience. But is there anything you can add to that?
So I would add that obviously, in addition to physical health and social connection, cognitive function is really important, engaging in learning or mental activities to stimulate the brain, emotional well-being and mental health about managing your stress, feeling a sense of purpose, could be hobbies or spiritual, um, environmental security, that your home is free of like falling, or peace of mind and comfort, and financial security would be the other dimension
Mm,
I would add.
yeah, I agree. Anybody else has anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, Julie, absolutely spot
Mm,
on with all the different points that you brought up. I think that the sense of purpose is very big. I think we think of healthy aging as being without sickness, which of course is ideal. I mean, we all want that. But I think there's another aspect as well, which um, is really feeling a sense of value and of purpose in your daily life, and as, I guess, a sense of enjoyment as well. So it is about physical fitness, emotional health and security, financial security, which of course honestly underlies so many of the things, makes a lot of things a lot more accessible, a lot easier for all of us. If you have that sort of financial security, it can really open a lot of doors. And likewise, it can close a lot of doors. Something that I've been very surprised at is that a lot of older adults have said that they still want to work part time, need to, or want to work part time. And that is something that I really feel strongly that I want to do more to support people that want to work part time. And I want to see us hire more older workers, both at the city level, support our older workers. And so that's just a little maybe different aspect, is just this need to maintain employment, and for the financial security aspect, as well as the sense of satisfaction and purpose.
yeah, I'm thinking of also the social aspect, right? Like if we love what we do, it's nice to connect with other people socially, but also like it brings you joy, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, social aspect is huge.
Yeah. Jeremy, jump in if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, no, I definitely, and Julie and Andrea, those were amazing points. I always go back to blue zones, right? Blue zone communities, communities that live to be 100, and all those points of social aspect, support, financial, right? Physical, folks who feel like they have drive, feel they have purpose, they have joy, they feel they have a sense of community, and just doing more, even in my own community, when what I do for the folks that I serve, right? Um, it makes a difference. Folks that come here, that they feel like they feel valued. They don't feel like I'm just doing it for a charity case, or I'm just doing it, for, because they're older. I see them and I value them and I'm learning from them. And to them, it's just like, great. We're growing, and we're adding forces.
Mm, I like that. Echo all that. That all resonates with me. I hope it's resonating with people out there. The next question, let's go around the mental health and emotional resilience. As we're aging, there's both the gains and the challenges that come along with it. What practices help older adults stay mentally strong and emotionally balanced? And I'm gonna pass that over to Julie.
I'm sorry, did you say pass to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think some practices, and we're going to get into a lot of them, are, an example of engaging in lifelong learning, um, taking advantage of group activities in the community or senior center, whether they're based around um, physical activity or a hobby. Spiritual engagement is certainly one. I think also too that two practices that people don't normally think of are really about expanding your support network and investing in one-on-one relationships. And the last one is volunteering. And I just want to take a minute to talk about volunteering in general, about the benefits, which is that, there's a lot of research out there that shows that volunteering really improves physical and emotional mental well-being, especially among older adults age 65 or older. Um, there have been studies that show they report better health, less depression, anxiety, less stress. And that just on a positive side, there's actually studies that show that there's a release of dopamine from feeling positive, the sense of purpose that we've all been referring to, and just the opportunity for increased social interaction, where you can develop new friends or strengthen relationships or help expand and build widen your support system.
Hmm. Andrea, got anything to add to that? Jeremy, jump on in. It's wide open.
Yeah, I would to add to that, working out. I think over the years, my experience working, I've worked with MGH through their health study, working with seniors at least 65 plus, doing strength training 3 times a week, mostly for lower extremities, folks dealing with arthritis or osteoporosis issues, and really getting, seeing from the optics outside in, strangers coming in, working out together, sweating together, really coming together and realizing that those who sweat together, complain together, really come together and be like, oh, wow, I'm fostering community. I'm building together. I'm learning from each other. Those days of just walking alone to the MBTA. Now I can walk with somebody, right?
Mm.
Those days of me going to church by myself, I can go to church with somebody. Those days of me, walking by myself, I get a ride with somebody. You start building an accountability tag team system, right? When you start having an initiative or something to go to, especially when you start joining like a exercise group or some sort of class-based activity.
Love that. Yeah. How about you, Andrea? Anything
Yeah,
you want?
absolutely. So something that has come out, data that has come out relatively recently, indicates that up to 40% of cognitive decline, of memory loss, can be halted or reversed or prevented completely by through exercise and diet. And that is a huge finding. So, as scary as this topic of dementia is, and it is scary, um, that information was very groundbreaking because people just didn't think there was anything that you could do. And there are drugs that are, there's not really a cure, but the drugs are pretty intense. They're expensive. They're not even a real sure thing. Um, and so that information and that data that has come out over the last couple of years is very, very important. Um, and that really links to, diet, to learning new things, everything that Julie and Jeremy just kind of laid out. All of those things are incredibly protective so they're good for you anyway. It's not why you would do it, but the fact that it has been, I guess, proven, or and that there's something that people can do, because I think that the sense of feeling very much like at a loss and kind of afraid if you know that this has this beneficial impact on your body for sure, but also your mental and emotional well-being and health, then I think that it's very compelling. So that would be, diet, and that's a whole long thing. And again, I know we're not doctors, but there are very clear types of guidelines with foods and things to avoid as well. Sleep, incredibly important and protective for your brain. Social connections, as Julie had mentioned, and also Jeremy. So just that added component, which is your cognitive health, is really, really just it's incredibly beneficial to have to move your body, to sweat, to eat well, sleep well. So yeah, those are just some additional things.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for all your response. I was also thinking of journaling, like journaling
Mm,
emotions
yeah,
out. Like I do a lot of that. I'm like, sometimes like emotions are all scattered, they're not balanced,
Mm-hmm.
and in their ether somewhere. I'm like, I don't even
yeah.
know. So many
Just
emotions right
expressing your
now.
feelings, right?
Right. I'm
You know,
just all
know,
right.
you know what's
Get it
crazy?
out.
I think you're absolutely right, Rosie.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right on that. The thing, it's funny, right? And maybe this is something, a question that I'll also want to ask the audience, right? And this is also a question that I always ask a lot of like my clients who are like 75-year-olds, right? And it's a question that they never see coming, right? I always ask them like, you know, how long how long do you see yourself living until, want to live until,
Yeah, that's that's great, Jeremy.
right? And
Yeah.
they'll look at me and be like, I've never really thought of that because I've done stuff for my kids. They've already grew up. I feel like I don't have to do any more than I've
Mm,
already done. So when they tell me that, I get the impression that they've already seized, to them, they've already reached the peak.
mm,
Really, we're just getting started. There's more we have to add to that. So it's just like they're not being challenged, they're not being pushed. There's no one there to kind of guide them that there's more to life than
mhm,
home.
Jeremy, I think you're bringing up something really important. And I think that you can easily think that you have nothing more to do if there isn't anything to do, and if you are very isolated. And I think it's very easy to get into a mode of depression. Um, and I think it would change if people felt that they could continue to live, at least, I think people don't want to just live without having a good quality of life.
right.
That's something that I hear a lot
Mhm,
from people.
mhm,
And how do you have that good quality of life? Mobility issues make it very challenging. People can't get out of their homes. That's very, very hard. That's why like a program like FriendshipWorks is incredibly
mhm,
beneficial, because sometimes when you can't get out, that's very hard and very isolating, and I think very easily to get depressed. Um, I think if people feel that they can still be part of things, then they still want to be part of things. But if you feel that you can't be part of things, I think it's a very dark place sometimes for people.
I
Um,
think
yeah.
I was just going to add that I think it's really important to feel like you matter to someone. Um, you need to feel not just a sense of purpose, but that you matter and someone is making you a priority. And I think that goes a long way. I've seen it personally with my mother and some of her friends. But I
mhm,
think it's also speaks to something we do, which is like the importance of one-on-one relationships. I think if you can go to groups and you can get out and partake, there can be opportunities for building community and making friends. But I think also for some people, they want the intimacy, and I don't mean romantic intimacy, but the intimacy of a one-on-one relationship, because it fulfills them in a way, in a different way. And there has been, both the quantity and quality of relationships people have are associated with reducing loneliness. But there is some research that suggests high quality one-on-one relationships are more important and more of a protective factor for mental health than the quantity of relationships you have. Um, so I think that's also an element to really think about as you age, what kind of person are you? What fulfills you? How do you love being in a crowd and having lots of contact, or do you crave that one-on-one relationship? Can you get out of the house, or do you need activities that are based in the home? What brings you joy in life? And being present about that question, not kind of what brought you joy at 25, because that might be things you can no longer do, but what brings you joy. And I think trying to answer some of those questions can help put you in a more positive frame of mind and figure out what kinds of social connection might be the right fit for you, the strategy for you.
Thank you so much for that. Well, actually, you kind of answered the question about why social connection is important. You said a lot of it. Anybody else has, anything to say about that? Because it's feel like we kind of went from safe movement to like social connections and community. And why is it so important? Why is it so crucial as you're aging? And why should we even care? Like us, even younger people, like you said, volunteering. Why should we take out time to nurture those social connections?
Well, Rosie, why you should care is because actually social isolation also affects younger people. And especially during the pandemic, it was a huge, huge problem. And a lot of school age children, and anyone here who is raising grandchildren, or probably everybody has stories where they heard about how tough it was to be isolated and at home the way that young people were. And then, as much as we are so fortunate to have the digital access that we have, it's also not always the quality that people need and want. And so I think that no matter what age you are, as Julie was saying, I think it's a very good point that, a few good friends, one good friend, it's like someone who cares about you, someone that you can care for and they care for you, is incredibly, it lifts you, it can keep you going in a way. And when have all of this stimulation and all of this technology, it's not always better. And it can, I think it has also driven a lot of further deepened isolation in some ways too. And young people are just as much are suffering with it as well. And I'm not exactly sure all the reasons, but I'm just saying that since the modern, the way we are living now is creating that situation, living alone, being yeah, individualistic kind of society. So
to add to that, Rosie, coming from a person who I didn't have my grandparents growing up, right? I gravitate toward older adults. I gravitate toward seniors, right? They are my solace. They are my source of knowledge. They are my source of a lot of things, right? So volunteering, like Julie says, getting to have these intimate relationships, it's a way for me to, almost come to almost in a way, feel almost whole, almost come to home, right? I get to learn more about my own self, my own life, past, present, future in a way, because you learn from folks who've lived it, right? Both male and female sides of life, but also at the same time, right? You get to build a beautiful relationship, right, with someone who sees your value, right, more than you can see yourself. Because it's also a mood booster, right? Because when you can connect with someone, right, a lot of young kids, especially inner city kids, they're getting to know themselves. They don't have the best self-belief in themselves. Working, volunteering, working with older adults and seniors who can see growth potential in themselves is a confidence booster. They can see things that they can't see themselves. So working with an older population that is able to guide them is definitely is what we need for the future.
Mm, I agree. They got so
I,
much knowledge. But go ahead, Julie. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to add that kind of my mantra is that social connection is not a nice to have, it's essential. It's important, and for your physical, again, I feel like a broken record, for your physical, mental, and social well-being. Like, again, there are medical studies that show social isolation and loneliness is associated with higher cardiovascular risk and stroke, higher levels of inflammation and impaired immunity, greater risk of dementia and cognitive decline, has a bidirectional relationship with depression, meaning if you're depressed, you're more likely to be isolated and lonely, and vice versa. And it's been shown to have an increased risk for mortality. So there's actually really physical evidence and studies that show that social isolation and loneliness are very detrimental. And this is why social connection is so important. And I think everyone's heard the statistic that it's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Mm,
They've been shown. So it's just really, there's also a huge body of evidence behind all of what we intuitively feel about the importance of social connection.
mm. Thank you so much. I was just thinking about the pandemic, how it was like a total disaster. And I was like, it was detrimental to my health, my nervous system, so all my social health, and the list keep going on and on. I'm like socializing, and it's just medicine, being in community amongst other people, and just like, yeah, that was a disaster, right? Like, I can remember that, and we all need social connections. We do not have to wait, like, young, I mean, children, from when you're little, growing all the way up, it all matters. So thank you so much for sharing that. Um, I'm jumping around here. We talked a little bit early on about safe movement. Movement's my medicine. Like, I started when I was really young, and most of it was like for like losing weight. But then once I became more aware and conscious, I'm like, oh my God, this is doing something to my mental health, my emotional health. I feel more grounded. I feel there's things that were coming out of it that I didn't realize until I was a little older, and I stuck with the routine. And I'm just like, I feel more mobile and flexible with all, the movement, like the yoga and just mindful movement, safe movement. So let's go back to movement. This is for you, Jeremy. I'm coming for you. So
Yeah.
for all you guys, the floor is always open. And again, I just want to say for the audience, raise your hands up if you want to, jump in and ask a question. If it's like a question's burning and you're like, I can't wait till the very end, feel free to raise your hands up. Um, Jeremy, what role does movement play in maintaining vitality as we age? How can people safely begin or adapt their routines? And I know you got a senior citizen class going on at your your spot right now, so I want you to mention that too.
Yeah, yeah. I'll quickly throw the shameless plug. Yeah, so Tuesday and Thursdays, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. We got Yachty in the house. She basically a little heart. But we host it at the Revamp training. That's the studio. But movement is medicine. Movement is essential. Movement is everything, right? Because think about it is, right? Stiffness is, we talked about not being able to move around, right? Seniors can call it a death sentence. People can call it a way of just not enjoying life, right? I had a lady who I saw earlier today. She literally stopped me today. Was like, I gotta join your class. When I wake up, I just feel so stiff, and I just want to die because I just can't move. And I literally just had to stop and talk to her, and I was just like, just to get her mindset to kind of shift a little bit, not think that way. But but literally that's what goes through people's head when they're not able to move. And moving is just a way for you to just do what you want to do without limitations. And our bodies, it doesn't matter if you're 5, 20, 30, 50, 60, 95, right? Being able to move around, your body can adapt to whatever you're doing. Simple movements as far as walking, going up a flight of stairs, right? Doing the studies with MGH, doing stuff with Boston Holmes. I'm able to see that, doing weight bearing exercise, resistance based exercise with ankle weight, something simple, right? Body weight, your body can adapt in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right? Things you couldn't do as far as bending over to grab something, to tying your shoes, to bouncing on one foot. You can do those over time through what? A routine of simple movements, right? But again, you have to start, otherwise you won't get anywhere unless you actually build up from it, right? So that's the thing. A lot of seniors are apprehensive to movements because, again, pre-existing injuries, right? They've had hip replacements, they've had shoulder pains, they've had back replacements, they've had everything under the sun. So they already have a limited mindset as far as like, I can't this and that, but it's okay. There's a lot of modifications, and exercise is not a one size fit all shoe. You can modify things based on your body type. There's a lot of programming, there's a lot of stuff that myself and my team have learned over the years to adapt to whoever we're working with. If you're not, you see stuff on social media where you see seniors who are deadlifting 300-400 pounds. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It could be a group just doing a simple power walking up a hill, or they can do Tai Chi or Qigong or anything of that nature, right? But at the end of the day, movement is necessary because it gets the blood pumping, it gets the metabolism going, right? It gets the brain activated, it gets the dopamine going. The body thrives on movement because it creates an outlet for us to let go of whatever we're holding on to.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm with all that. Julia, Andrea, you guys want to jump in? Feel free to jump in. Did someone raise their hand? Okay, feel free if anyone wants to raise their hand, comment, question.
I just want to share a little story that I think combines the whole movement and social connection together.
Please.
So really quickly, we had an older adult who was isolated because of mobility issues. They couldn't really leave their apartment, and their friends were unable to visit. And once we matched them with a friendly visitor and they started visiting regularly, the older adult noticed improvement in their strength and mobility and started to be able to go downstairs independently. And they really credited the social connection that they got through the visitor as increasing their motivation to do their PT and their OT. So it became this kind of cycle where the physical exercise really came, and the motivation to do the physical PT came from having that social connection. So I think sometimes they go hand in hand. So I'll stop there. I have tons of stories, but I'll stop there.
No, I agree with you, Julie, because I'm like, I go to the gym, but not just to like work out, but I like talking to the people there. Like, they become my little gym family. No, I love the social piece to it too. So, Daniel, you have your hands up. Want to jump in? You can come off mute.
Yes. So I have therapists that I work with in my house. Well, they're essentially like peer specialists, recovery coordinator that I work with, and we go for walks. I live in a nice area that's nearby farmland, Gore Estate, and we go for walks and talk, and I find it very cathartic to do so. It sometimes when I'm just sitting in my home, I feel like my thought thinking is a little bit blocked up, but sometimes when we're moving, I feel less pressure and it feels really good. Thank you.
And that, yeah. Yeah, movement is medicine for me. Thanks for sharing that. Anybody else wants to jump in? And while we do waiting for anybody else to jump in, Jeremy, do you have a flyer for your senior class that happens Tuesday? Is it Tuesday and Thursday?
Yeah, I can send that. I can send it over to you.
Okay, great. I'll put it on the follow-up email, everyone. So and those classes, is it
It's
free?
free.
It's
It's
free.
free.
Free, y'all. Woo!
Rosie, I just want to draw, there's a few questions in the
Okay.
chat. So someone asked if you could talk about winter isolation and being scared to walk outside on icy sidewalks. And then another person asked, is Boston still heavily invested in the Age Strong?
Good question. Sorry, I didn't miss that. Mary, thank you. Anyone wants to jump in?
So the first question about social isolation during the winter.
Yes.
Yeah, very big problem. As we know, I had mentioned I'd been with Age Strong for 10 years. And one of the first things we tried to do was to get a snow removal program implemented. And it's very, very, very challenging. We had a very small little pilot program that we did with Power Corps Boston. And Power Corps Boston is part of the city. And they learn the sort of jobs of the future, the green jobs of the future, and they can be sort of deployed in the winter. And that was amazing. And so, a very small pilot program, but it is definitely something that we always, always want to do. But there are reasons why for our commission it is not easy to do. That said, there are a lot of programs out there. We have found that a lot of schools, like we were in West Roxbury, they said that Catholic Memorial there, they will shovel in the winter. And I think that we're also talking about police recruits, kind of the new Boston Police Department recruits also being deployed to do it. So it is something that the city is always talking about doing. Obviously incredibly difficult to be isolated in the winter and then be afraid to fall, which is of course, definitely not what you want to do. We continue to try to create a program. So it looks like the police recruits is very promising. Power Corps Boston is very promising. It's very hard to rely on just volunteers, especially if there are multiple snowstorms. But we don't seem to be having as much snow as we did before, which is good in a way. Not in terms of the environment, but it's good for mobility. So, but we continue to work on that at Age Strong in cooperation and partnership with other city departments.
Someone wanted to know.
And I'm just going to make a shameless plug that, FriendshipWorks programs happen in the older adults, wherever the older adult lives. So friendly visitors can come to your home. We have programs, whether you live alone, whether you live with family, in an elder building, in assisted living or nursing homes. So we have all our programs are based wherever the older adult lives. They're all free. And I'm sorry, just seeing another question. So that's another option, is to have programs and activities that will come to you.
And there was another question about Boston. Is Boston still heavily interested in Age Strong? Age Strong's up and rolling. Do you want to tell them a little bit?
You mean the older adult population when you refer to Age Strong? So we used to be called the Elderly Commission, and we changed our name around 2018, 2019, mainly because people didn't like the name Elderly Commission. And so we went to the community and asked what they related to, what kind of words they related to, and certain things kept kind of bubbling up to the top, and Age Strong became our name. So Age Strong Commission was the Elderly Commission. We are the Council on Aging for the City of Boston, and we are growing I mean, it's amazing, I think, how we have grown over the last few years. We do a lot more with events. We do constituent services. We have housing. We help with housing searches. We do referrals. We do all sorts of constituent relations. We do the initiative that I do, which is looking actually at sidewalks and safety of sidewalks and crossing the streets. Age-friendly business, of which Jeremy's business Revamp is an age-friendly business, because we do customer service training of how, best practices to communicate with older adults. So Age Strong is very, very, very active. I did put a link in the chat to just an example of the different things that we do exercise-wise, the direct link, and so you can get a sense. But yes, we are very much large and in charge and around and kind of doing more in every part of the city.
Thank you for
There's a
that.
great question in here from Diane that maybe Jeremy could answer.
Yeah, I just saw that. Daniel's hand's up. Oh, it went down. You good, Daniel?
It says, are there specific physical activities that are recommended for people of certain age groups, i.e. 65 plus, 20 to 30-year-olds, 30, 40, etc.?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, right? So it's definitely a multi-dimensional question, right? Physical activities are recommended for people certain age groups, right? So the simpler answer, right, is depends what you're into, right? That could be simple as, are you into walking? Are you into swimming? Are you into cycling? Are you into yoga? Are you into dancing, right? If you're someone that's not into like a recreational activity, right? And if you're someone who just wants to do something more like exercise focused, right? You can do something that's more kind of bang for your buck and get yourself resistant bands, right? Mini bands, power bands, right? And you can do a whole onslaught of full body activities, um, bandit walks. You can do a lot of shoulder, rotator cuffs, wrist stuff, a lot of stuff that you would see in rehab, prehab stuff to just get your body going, and a lot of things you would do to pretty much get the body strong. And again, these are things that we do at our classes to work on mobility, to work on strength, and to work on balance to make sure that in case you do fall, can you get yourself up? You make sure you can do that. Do you have balance? Yes. Do you have strength in your upper and lower body? Those things are really important because situations do arise. You want to make sure you're prepared for those things.
Right. Thank you. Hopefully that answers your question. Daniel, your hand's been up. Jump on in. And anyone else, don't be shy. Jump on in. This is a community.
Yeah, so I go to a psychosocial clubhouse in the Fountain House model. There's a clubhouse in Boston called Center Club. And I go to Charles Webster Potter Place in Waltham. And it's really nice. A lot of the members get there through the ride transportation. Some get there through CTS, another transportation distribution service through Commonwealth Care Alliance or Mass Health. And it's great. Like sometimes when I walk up to the clubhouse after taking the bus, it really is that community. It really is that friendship and work together, stay together type feel. And I'll reach into my pocket for my keys like I open it like my own front door, because that's feels like a second home. So thanks.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, that also works in, like, you can go to a community that you get a ride to, and that kind of allays the problem, stops the problem of falling on the sidewalk while you're looking for something to do.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else wanna? chime in. Any questions, comments? Oh, someone else raised their hand up. Lily? Am I saying it right?
Yes, I'm just
Not
trying
sure
to,
your name.
I'm just trying to get off of mute. Yeah, I actually, this is a great discussion tonight. I really appreciate it. But what I was thinking, you talked about COVID and the isolation, for elderly. And, that was a lot of what I felt, it when all this hit. So now that I am back out in the community, I find myself now want to go to the nursing home and visit some of the elderlies that cannot get out. And as I can't remember your name, you were speaking about the friendship connections. Do you guys have any ways of connecting with nursing home? Because I know that I do go and visit people, but I only go and visit people that I know. And you can't just walk into a nursing home and say, I'm coming to visit. I do also go with my church, but I'm just wondering, do the city of Boston have some kind of connections where, you can, be on a list where can be Corey or whatever to go and visit some of the elders? Because I do it and I really enjoy it. It's really, really wonderful just to sit there and talk to those older people, and they make you laugh a lot. So I would be interested in something like that. If something like that out there. I mean, I know
There
I
is.
my church, but again, the church don't hit all the nursing homes. They only have a few. So.
So we definitely work with nursing homes. We set up friendly visitors to go and visit people in nursing homes. So that's one way. And we also have teams of volunteers and their pets that go and visit nursing homes. So we do work in a number of different nursing homes around Boston. So I would encourage you to call FriendshipWorks because we would love to help you.
Absolutely.
Let's throw it in the chat again. There's volunteer opportunities there.
I just took the link off the chat.
Oh, good. Yeah, I shared it earlier, but I figured
Yeah.
I'd share it again. Yeah.
And if you reach out to me as well, I can connect you to the right person so that you don't, because we do kind of have a portal and an online
Yeah.
application, but we can definitely help you get through that.
Okay, so that name is Julie?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Mary just shared her email in there, so there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to her. We're here to support each other. Wonderful. Anyone else wants to chime in? If not, we'll get moving. Did someone raise? No, nobody raised their hand. Jeremy, I was thinking about safe movement and, older adults, just apprehensive from like joining. And I was thinking of this question of many people, like they fear getting injured, right? Like, I think that's like the number one concern I hear a lot. Or they feel like they're too old. Like it's too old, my life has ended, I've already lived my life, can't move now. Like, what advice would you give them?
There's there's always more. There's always more. There's always more. Um, it's a reminder, right? It's a reminder that don't you want to experience more things? Don't you want to get out of your bubble? Don't you want to live life and do more things? Because that's the thing. It's just, and this is from my own experience from doing workshops and teaching seniors about like nutrition and exercise, is that they only know what they know, right? And they base that information from years ago. So unless you show them a better way, all they have is what they know. right? And until you inspire them and put that belief in their heads that they can open this container with their hands, they won't do it.
Mm,
So we all need reminders, because a lot of times they have that pre-existing thing that my hands are weak. I
yeah.
can't push,
Yeah.
right? Or if I'm gonna, or I have like this glass body, when really it's like, no, everybody needs a little bit of push. Same thing with physical therapy, right? We're all gonna go through some level of discomfort before it gets better. It's no
Yeah.
different, right? We all need a little bit of pressure before things turn for the best.
Oh, yeah, that's a raised her hand up. Yes, I bet she's got something else to say.
There are also
Hey,
two
y'all.
questions in the
I
chat.
read it. Oh yeah, and then there's two questions, but go ahead, and then we'll get to Herman.
Herman and
Yeah.
Adiani.
Okay, let's do Herman. Was there one or two questions? I'm scrolling down.
Herman had one about what's your version of age
Version of age
longevity? And
longevity.
then there was one from Diani about what type of opportunities in Boston offer in terms of building and maintaining social cohesion among residents.
Oh, let's go with that question.
So I think both questions.
Was that before? Sorry, so much on the chat. Let's go. What type of opportunities does Boston offer in terms of building and maintaining social cohesion amongst residents? That was all the way up top. So anyone wants to take a stab at that?
We have one program called FriendshipWorks. It operates in 15 different buildings from the South End through Dorchester, and Brookline. It's about the whole purpose of it is about building community among the residents of the building to reduce isolation and loneliness. And so it uses music and interactive music exercises or activities like Zumba or Name That Tune or Music Bingo, as a way of people getting to know each other, experiencing physical movement, and also promoting cognitive health. So it does all of those things. But that's an example of one program that exists around building community among residents.
Andrea, have anything?
Yes. There are a bunch of things that I would say would fall in that category. Age Strong has a volunteer program, and people get assigned to a huge variety of city departments, and other things too. And recently I was at the Hyde Park Food Pantry, and two of our volunteers were there. And I think that that was one of the best examples of building community and volunteering in that combination. So these two women who have been with our program, one has been volunteering for 10 years, another one just began volunteering, and they both are there on a weekly basis and helping their neighbors get food. And they were, it's incredible what they say about it, and how much it gives them. They give food, but it gives them so much to be part of it. So I think our volunteer program is very, very good in that way. Really helps build community, especially if you're in a social setting, which usually you are. And then another one we have is called the Civic Academy. And the Civic Academy is where it's a 6-week class, and you learn about municipal, state, and federal government, and about how to develop your own sort of elevator pitch, your own story to then go and make a difference in your political system, the democratic process. So people will learn how to tell their own story, and then maybe go and lobby on behalf of something that matters to them. So those are two examples: our volunteer unit, our and the Civic Academy program, and then of course we have many events. That's what Age Strong does. I think that there's I mean, Boston, for being a small city, I think has something in every neighborhood, multiple things in every neighborhood, from neighborhood associations to any, you name it, all kinds of groups. And I think it's just finding them. I think the information is something that people always say they want to know how to find out more about what's out there. And then for older adults, sometimes with everything being online, that is not always easy to find out what's going on. But I would say that there are many, many things. It's just finding them and finding what's right for you.
We're going to share all these resources on the follow-up, just in case you don't get all of this good information that's coming in so useful. So,
And phone numbers are always good too, in case the websites are not, obviously everybody here is on Zoom and so they know how to use it, but in case you want someone to tell you and you don't want to have to look through the website, you can always call us, I'm sure, and obviously you can always call any of the people here.
yeah. Thank you.
I just wanted to flag Herman's question next of what's your
Mary.
version of age longevity?
Did you hear that? The question from Herman, what is your version of age longevity? He's just curious. He's just here to learn. Anybody can jump in if they have some sort of idea. You want to elaborate a little bit on that, Herman? Can everyone hear me? There's a big silence right there. What's your version of age longevity? It's something that I've been hearing for a long time in my life. He's hearing a lot of things about versions of age longevity. Anybody has some knowledge around that?
Is he asking like someone extending their life longer, or our interpretation of that, of how someone can extend their life, or you want to understand?
Yeah, you can come off mute as well, if you like. We want to better understand it so we can answer your question to the
So
best.
is it extending
Yeah,
is it extending
your age,
your lifespan or something?
something like that?
What would be like a typical lifespan?
It's funny because I interpreted a little bit more of what do you see as age longevity, and I think more about quality of life
Mm.
than lifespan. And that goes back to how you opened the meeting, Rosie, that it's not about the years, it's about adding life to your years. And so I guess my version of age longevity as I'm interpreting the question is much more about, how do you define quality of life for you? And do you have a majority of those things as you age? To me, that's a little bit about, because it's wanting to extend your lifespan because you have some quality of life.
I think absolutely, Juliet. And I put the quote that I think I'm extrapolating from what you were saying.
Yeah.
I had something kind of sad happen today. I don't want to bring us down, but there's a woman that I've known since I have been at Age Strong, and she's now 95. And she said that she comes from a family of people that live a very long time, but she's very frustrated right now. She doesn't, she feels, she said she was good until she was in her late 80s. But honestly, now she feels like she doesn't really have the heart to keep living. She said, I'm 95. but I've got these really long jeans, and so I don't really know what I'm going to do because but I'm not really enjoying my life. And I was trying to get at, I probably should have asked her about FriendshipWorks or, having friendly visiting, though I did mention to her, if someone came in, if you had more, um, I, I think it would help those things, but I think she feels very frustrated because she doesn't have a lot of mobility and she doesn't really have the level of care that she needs, and she is all by herself. She's in it, and if she could go home, she would be okay, but she can't go home because the level of care that she needs is too expensive for she can't afford the level of care that she needs, so she has to stay in a rehab facility. And so that was very hard to hear because she said everybody's telling her, no, 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 no. What are you talking? No, you don't feel that way, or you shouldn't feel that way, or you. But I think she wants to talk about it. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. I'm going to look into this topic for you because I know that there have been end of life community groups that people have talked about, sort of support groups and that type of thing. But I do think it's a real thing that is, sometimes if you are healthy and mobile, who wouldn't want to live forever, right? If you can. Not all of us have those genes. I know I don't, unfortunately, but I don't know exactly, we don't know what is the plan for any of us. But if you have the ability to age, to have a healthy, long life, I think that's the ideal. But if you feel frustrated and you don't feel like you're really living life, I don't know that it's, I mean, these are moral, spiritual questions, but I do think that there's something that for us to talk about as people and as a community is, what does that mean? What does that look like? Does it mean is it a phase? If the person had support, would they start to feel different? Or is it just hard to keep going if you are that immobile? So I think it's something that's real, that I think it's important for us to grapple with. And, living a long life, if you can be healthy, is good. But if you can't be, I don't know what the alternative is, but you can't discount how people feel.
No. I think those are really serious issues that, are not everyone can rebound or is in a place. I think it's also, though, there's a wide range of people, some of who can regain some of their mobility. And so just another kind of story, maybe on a positive note, but not in any way to take away with what Andrea shared, is that, we had an older adult who had physical issues and found it difficult to walk outside of her home. We were able to find out that she really had a passion for music and arts as well as walking. And so by matching her with a friendly visitor who also had shared her passions, and really had the patience to go on short walks, she was able to build up her stamina and over time became independent. And then they started going and experiencing art things around the city that were free. And eventually, the older adult was able to resume her membership and to attend arts events around the city. So sometimes there is a path back with the right support and someone, and finding that joy of something that they can share with someone else. That isn't true for everyone, but it is possible that there are ways back from very depressing kind of situations, even with limited mobility.
Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question. I think that, Yaritza, you had your hand up, then it went down. Did you want to chime in?
Ooh, Rosie, I don't even remember my point. it was gonna be an extension. It's okay. If it hits me, cool. Yeah, it was gonna be okay. If I remember, I'll circle back. I got you.
Okay, I didn't want to forget about you then. Feel free to chime in if if you think of it again. Okay, somebody else had a question. Oh, Lee, is it Lee? Hold on, let me go back up. Go back up. Okay. Oh, Lee, how do you address people outliving their money as Social Security retirement isn't enough for people to enjoy their life? Yeah, financial health is very important. That can affect your overall health and well-being. Feel free to chime in. I have a lot to say about that. But if anybody feels
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot that I'm a certified older adult peer specialist, that there are many people, especially people with disabilities, who outlive their pensions or their savings, and they have to solely rely on Social Security. I mean, most people with disabilities don't have the pensions or savings, but the working people who had that all their lives, like my dad, who's 90, worried about outliving his pension. And then for people with disabilities like myself, uh, we never had jobs to have pensions or retirements or whatever. And Social Security is going to get worse and worse. We're actually going to get benefits cut by the Trump administration. So how do we enjoy life, and what's the options that way?
Mm. Anyone wants to chime in? I would say come to Jeremy's class, find some joy if you can. Enjoy life. I know sometimes we think, of course we need money to survive. We have to pay our bills, be able to take care of all of our needs, of course. But I also think some of the panelists shared some really great ways and offerings in the community if you're able to get there, or even reaching out to Friendship Work if you can't get there. Find a social buddy to really support you, and find other avenues of finding financial health. Um,
Rosie, I'd like to also just
Jump in.
encourage people to reach out to our department as well. We have constituents services folks for every neighborhood, and they will sit down and look at everything you are currently getting enrolled in, and and then find other things that a lot of times people don't know that they're eligible for, and then help you to sign up for those things. I know that this is a very tough time because of all of the cuts and because things are not going as far as they did, and especially on fixed incomes. And I think what we do is we sit down and we try to squeeze as much, out of the programs that we know exist and help people with various things from food resources. There's a lot of things that, collectively people know about that can help make things better financially. It is not a panacea or, a slam dunk, but they will like kind of evaluate your picture, your financial picture, and figure out what you could be taking advantage of. Another thing is that the city has an office of financial, it was Office of Financial Empowerment. I think now it's called the Office of Working Families. And they actually do something called a financial wellness check. And those are very, very beneficial too. And they can, again, look at what you make, look at what you might not be taking advantage of, and and again try to get as much as we can out of the programs that do exist, and then try to enroll you in programs that maybe you didn't know were out there or ideas that might be helpful. there's a lot of food resources. There's a lot of free events, free classes. Everything that Age Strong does is free. So all of our, it's a great place to get a meal. You can go. We have lots of things. We have Hispanic Heritage. We have Picnic in the Park. We have Halloween parties. Those are all free. Lots of food, and I know again, those are one-off things. But we also, as I said, have advocates who will evaluate what you are living on and try to maximize your income.
I put that
Is that
information.
available?
It's
Is that available for people in Brookline, and can it be done by Zoom?
Well, it not for Brookline, but the Council on Aging in Brookline, I believe, can do the same thing.
Mm.
'Cause
They,
it's hard enough to find at age 61 a part-time admin job.
Mm.
the
Because,
job situation is a very tricky. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I mean, that's, when we started this conversation, when I was saying how much I realized like how important having a job, and how many people, older adults, want to work, need to work, and how difficult it is to get work. And I think that the Brookline Senior Center would help.
I just
I
wonder how much of it is ageism,
no, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of ageism, and
and
that's something
how
that
you prove it.
you can't.
Okay.
And ageism is illegal. You can't discriminate based on age, but you can't. So one of the things that we do a lot, and that's something that our particular Jeremy took our training. So that's one of the things we keep kind of trying to get people to change, which is hire older people, because actually it's better for your business. It's age diverse workplaces are like racially diverse workplaces, gender diverse workplaces are more collaborative, they're more productive, and they're more profitable. And so that's something we keep trying to kind of make the case for is ageism makes no sense. Really literally makes no sense. Older workers are usually much more reliable workers. They don't want to, they're not necessarily looking for that next job. They're not trying to move up the ladder most of the time, depends on how old they are, but they're dependable. And we are, keep making this case that really hire older workers, and that there's a lot of benefits to having people of every age in the workplace, and especially older people. So I think ageism is a real thing, but it's not well thought out, and it's not good practice. And I don't really know how we can change it except to change the culture around it. And if you wanted to call me, we could certainly talk a little bit. I do help people go through jobs, and so I know you said you're in Brookline, and I'm not technically supposed to, but I could try to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just would echo contacting the Brookline Senior Center, but definitely take advantage of Andrea's offer for help. I also would make a plug for, there is social prescribing for arts that your medical team can do. They can contact Art Pharmacy, which works statewide. And they can actually do what they call social prescribing, where they write a prescription just like they would for a medication for you to participate in certain art activities free of charge. So that's something you should talk about if that's something would interest you, talked about to your healthcare provider.
thank you so much. It looks like we're coming up on time. This has been such a rich conversation. Oh my God. It's already that time. We can go for another half an hour. But no, any last thoughts, final thoughts from the panelists? Any advice, wisdom you want
I
to?
I think kind of picking up on Andrea's, it's kind of comes out of the conversation about ageism, is that related, we also need to normalize the conversation or the idea that it's okay to want or pursue social connection. One of my favorite recent quotes is by a professor of public health at Harvard who said, "We need to change how we think about loneliness. We need to think of it as a biological signal telling us that we need human connection, just like thirst is a signal that our body needs water."
Mm.
And no one's embarrassed to say they're thirsty, so why should we be embarrassed to say we're lonely? And I just find that to be a really
Love.
powerful quote.
Yeah, what a beautiful quote.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Lily, want to jump in? Anybody can jump in. Final
This is
thought.
one quick question for Julie. And also, I did want to say that I was one of the lucky ones to get accepted into Civic Academy. So I am excited about that. But also, I am interested, but the nursing home thing that I mentioned to you, do people have to be Corey? So in case if I share this information, I can let them know what to expect.
Yes, we
Okay.
do Corey and we do reference checks. So someone who is filling the role of a volunteer goes through an interview, a short interview, half hour with our staff, Corey check, reference check, and then sits on an online training.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
'Cause I'm a big mouth. I share everything. So I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I have.
If you contact me, I can send you lots more information.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Julie.
So much. And we're almost at time. Feel free to go in the chat. We want you to take a few minutes right before we log off. Please, please, take a few minutes to complete the survey. We want to hear about your thoughts, your experience, anything else you want us to talk about around community college. This happens once a month. We're going to be talking about long COVID next month. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Any other thoughts? We love to hear from you. Like, I always look at this stuff like literally right after or early tomorrow morning to just look at the feedback of the survey and what people have to say. Dorothy, I see your hands up. Chime in before
Yeah,
we.
I just want to say thank you for this program. It's really good. And Andrea, hi, Andrea, how are you?
Hi, Dorothy.
She is
I
so
know that beautiful voice. I love
so
it.
good. She's so good. She will return your call and she will network for you. So thank you for that. When during the pandemic, I had just retired from my job and I was so lonesome. I didn't know what to do. I was home, didn't know that I was getting sick. And then there was this program from the city of Boston from Age Strong, and I happened to turn on, and this Indian girl, her name is Latika, she was given the program.
Yes.
Yes, and from there, every morning at 8 o'clock, I am online with her and her group doing meditation every morning. So thank you for that. Yeah. So, and also Lily, she says she's a big mood. She's not. She good networker and she shares so much with everyone, especially with me. Yes.
Yay, sharing. We're building
Thank
social capital and taking care of each other.
you. Yes. Thank you.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you for the three wonderful panelists for sharing your insight and your thoughts, your wisdom. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for putting this on, Rosie.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, I know this is
Well,
great.
Thank you to everyone who gave up some of their evening to join.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the survey's still in there, so feel free to click on it and
Oh,
complete
okay.
the survey. Yep, it's in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how big that chat is?
Yeah, I know. I'll put
No,
it.
but that's one indication of this was successful.
Yes,
That's
I
one
agree.
indication.
I agree. Yes, I'll put in this chat.
Andrea, there was a question about who's the advocate for Mattapan.
I can look that up.
it changes a lot, but it's Eves. It's Eves.
His
His name is Eves. And I think his name is Yves Marie Jean. I can give you his direct. Let's find him. I got to give you his. Let me just find Eve's.
Faster than me.
Yves Marie Jean, and I don't see his number, but I can give you his email. But like I had put the main number of Age Strong in the chat, and he can be reached there. But this is his email address. I'm putting this in right now. He's very, very good. See if that comes through.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Age Strong thingy, what age does it start?
Well, it's a little tricky, but mostly 55 plus. So certain programs, because if they're federally funded, are usually like 60 plus. But our volunteer program that I mentioned about the 2 women at the Hyde Park Food Pantry, that's actually a 55 plus.
Okay.
So it's either 55 or 60.
Okay, because right now I've just been going down the street to keep my neighbor from sleeping all day. She's not working no more. She's about to be in her 80s. And
Wow.
she's like, all she wants to do is sleep. And I was like, you can't do that. You can't stay in bed all day. Let's go out. We'll sit out on the porch. We'll do something. I'll go down and chit chat with her. Yeah, I mean, she's got kids, but all her kids are busy, and 3 of her kids live right across the street from her. So that's a shame.
Andrea,
Yes.
you should put the link in now because you have the different activity during the week that some different people conduct. I know that tomorrow 11:30 is meditation and yoga. So
Okay, let me find it, and I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can
know more. You know more than I do.
You can send it to me as well, and then I can put it up on the follow-up email.
And Lily is the one told me about this program, UCB. She told me about it. So.
Union Capital, yeah.
Yes.
You can send me any information. I'll email you all the panelists, all you guys. So
Yeah,
you guys can send me any resources that be useful for the follow-up email, so people have this information available to them.
I am so sorry. I got pulled away into a family emergency, so I missed most of this.
Oh.
Did anybody talk about the issue of elders and substance abuse?
No, we're actually, we're 5 minutes over. I want to respect everyone's time. I'm sorry, but fill out the survey.
Yep.
That's a topic you're interested in.
It's a great topic. It's
a great topic.
Yeah.
It's a great topic. Well, thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a pleasant night.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for having us. Bye.